Proposition 24. Each co-moving frame of reference creates a pocket of spacetime, post, in a nested succession. So one could say our post with a capital P represents the largest measurable co-moving frame of reference that our current scientific precision makes possible. What I call our post with a capital P can be thought of as our universe with a lowercase u. And the universe with an uppercase U is the aggregate collection of the infinite other pockets of nested co-moving frames of reference. Proposition 25. Our visible universe with a lowercase u, our post, is made from an ever-changing finite number of separate relative nested pockets of spacetime. Pockets full of mass and energy and heat and radiation. Our universe with a capital U is made from an infinite number of separate nested pockets of relative pressurized space-time, mass, energy, heat, radiation. That is what reality is made from, and is the simplest way to truly express the natural state of nature. Proposition 26. For those who may not realize it, our moon is slowly moving away from the Earth. But most all the planets are also slowly moving away from our sun, and many of them will also slowly see the orbits of many of their moons increase over time. No orbit can contain infinite energy, so all orbits must eventually decay one way or the other. Proposition 27. Our sun and all the stars in the outer arms of the Milky Way galaxy are slowly moving away from Sagittarius A star, the black hole at the center of our galaxy. The outer arms of most all galaxies are slowly moving away from their centers and will slowly disperse over time. Proposition 28. Our galaxy and the many dwarf galaxies sharing its co-moving frame of reference, along with other galaxies in our local group, orbit a shared barycenter, and the diameters of the orbits of all the siblings of our local galactic cluster are also increasing over time. Proposition 29. Our local group of galaxies is indirectly orbiting the Great Attractor, and someday, when we have collected sufficient evidence, it will be shown that our orbit around the Great Attractor also has an increasing radius. Proposition 30. The Great Attractor is likely orbiting the Shapley Attractor, or the two may be orbiting a shared barycenter, and their respective orbits are likely also increasing in diameter over time. We may never see what that pair orbits, but the current empirical evidence points to them not being stationary, and instead likely hurling through space, orbiting something even more massive, dragging our entire supercluster along for the ride. Proposition 31. Getting tired of perpetually playing follow the leaders is what general relativity tells us to expect in a nested succession. However, it also dictates that when relative objects are too massive or moving at speeds that are either too fast or too slow, then instead of a stable co-moving frame of reference, we get either an escape velocity reaching orbital ejection or a downward spiral into a violent merger. Proposition 32. Most orbits generally lose energy over time and diameters increase, and mass-energy cohesion holding space-time together loosens. The overlapping gravity wells at many different scale factors in a nested succession all see an average loss in the tensor mesh strength of gravitational attraction, binding them together as pockets of spacetime. Proposition 33. Something very interesting happens once you realize where time and space are coming from. It becomes simple physics then to understand where the cause of what we call dark energy is coming from. What happens when the perception of space-time offered by the nested succession of overlapping gravity wells sees their localized mass energy cohesion to spacetime slowly dissipate over time? Question mark. Proposition 34. What would that look like as you peer down into the nested succession of parent co-moving frames of reference, each feeding their children a nested perception of time and space, where most rungs each see an average dissipation of localized mass energy cohesion to relative spacetime? It would look to us at our scale factor like the very fabric of space and time itself was being torn apart. It would look exactly like the effects that we attribute to dark energy. Proposition 35. We can already see where local relative gravity counteracts dark energy. So it seems obvious there is a constant battle between all the local relative overlapping gravity wells inside our largest measurable pocket of spacetime and something. That something is the succession of larger and larger pockets of overlapping gravity wells, each seeing, on average, an increasing diameter for the majority of all the orbits making up those overlapping gravity wells. That is why lambda, inside the field equations of general relativity, needs to be expressed as a ratio, not a constant. Proposition 36. Vacuum energy has nothing to do with dark energy. The calculations that we failed more miserably at than any other scientific prediction ever should have made that crystal clear. Instead, what we would predict if there was in fact a slow dissipation of mass energy cohesion across a nested succession of co-moving frames of reference is a rate that increases exponentially. Proposition 37. Once the prediction of a rate of universal expansion increasing exponentially is confirmed, and that the rate of expansion varies in strength across our local patch of spacetime due to areas of stronger overlapping localized gravity wells, and no other theory has come along to explain dark energy any better, then William of Ockham would endorse the concepts of nested pockets of spacetime and successive collision theory. Proposition 38. In my humble opinion, it is foolishly premature to pretend that we have collected sufficient information to make a truly informed decision about the underlying natural state of nature behind our cosmos until our current calendar year has 5 digits in it, and we are closer to 6 digits than 4. Just as we should not pretend that our entire 13.8 billion-year-old universe is not still in its infancy. If we thought about the life of our entire universe like the life cycle of any mammal, it is not yet even a recognizable fetus.